Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Crowd Chair Podcast. This is going to be the AFC North video. So yeah, we're getting into this one right now. Um, I am very hot right now. Our AC in this place right now is not functioning correctly, so it's like 85 in here. It is sweltering. I hate this. So yeah, I kind of want to just get right under a fan and literally just sit there for like ever. Because I am just yeah, I'm hot. That's all you need to know. So yeah, first we have the Cincinnati Bengals. This is the AFC North. This is I do these a little bit differently than I do my college ones because in my college ones there are way more teams to go over. There's a lot more stuff to do with this one. There's only four per division, so I can go a little bit more in depth about these teams and what I really think about their upcoming seasons. So yeah, with the so our first team here, and once again, kind of exactly just like I do with my college picks, my NFL picks are also based off of this Vegas Insider page. Again, not really sure how accurate it really is, but this is what I base my stuff off of. So, getting this one started. The Cincinnati Bengals will begin on the road against the Cleveland Browns, home to the Jacksonville Jaguars, on the road against the Vikings and Broncos, before being home to the Detroit Lions. Yep, that's us. On the road against Green Bay, home to Pittsburgh and the New York Jet. Or I'm sorry, home to the Steelers, the Jets, and the Bears. Before getting their first bye, then they'll be at home, or I'm sorry, on the road against the Pittsburgh Steelers, home to the New England Patriots, on the road against the Ravens. First on the road against the Ravens, and then home to the Ravens with a road game against the Bills sandwiched in between at the Miami Dolphins, home to the Cardinals, and then home to their their Ohio arch nemesis of the Browns. The Bengals over under sits at 9.5. Give me the under right now. I don't care for this team much at all. This team is in a huge mess at the moment. They have way too many problems going on, way too much just stuff going on with contracts and everything else. I mean, you have the contract situations with both defensive ends at the moment. Their own first round pick won't even sign with them. And then Trey Hendrickson, obviously, there's that whole saga as well. So it's a mess with the Bengals. They have huge issues with defense, and considering that they have two huge defensive ends that they can't even seem to really get to sign on to their team, is that's going to cause more problems for them. If they had a defense, the Bengals would arguably, to me, be one of the best teams in the darn league. Because I really don't think there's anybody that can stop their offensive assault of Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and then, the running back and tight end, of which they've obviously, that has regressed a little bit as well. The Bengals just have a lot of money tied up in three guys, and they're trying everything they can to try and build around those three, but they just don't have the money to really do it. It's tough times for the Bengals because I feel like their best season was the one that was their best chance, I should say, was the one where they got to the Super Bowl and played the Rams, and then they just that didn't end up happening. Obviously, that was a magical run. The offensive line has really never gotten fixed, and the defense has slowly every single year. Yes, I'm wiping sweat off my head. It's that bad in here. And the defense has obviously um or I guess yeah, I already lost my spot because I was dealing with that. The defense has seen some regression over the years. It's gotten to the point where it just has been an absolute dumpster fire. They bring in a new defensive coordinator this year, the former Notre Dame defensive coordinator. Lou Anarumo is gone. I don't remember the name of the Notre Dame guy, but he is now the Bengals defensive coordinator. We'll see if he can do some things with the Bengal defense. But until that defense really gets better, there is no future for the Cincinnati Bengals. They're going to continue to be a middle of the road team, one that just probably misses out on the postseason literally every year. It's a hard place to be, but for the Bengals, until that defense finds any kind of backbone, that's going to be their future, and I don't really see a way out of it until they fix that. And next we have the Cleveland Browns, the other Ohio team. Um, so going over to Browns, their schedule will start at home against of course, at home against the Bengals. On the road against the Baltimore Ravens, home to Green Bay Packers, on the road against the Detroit Lions. Then they'll have, I believe that's a London game against the Minnesota Vikings. On the road against the Pittsburgh Steelers, home to Miami Dolphins, then on the road against the New England Patriots before getting their bye. They'll be on the road against the Jets, home to the Ravens, road against the Raiders, home to 49ers and Titans, on the road against the Bears, home to the Bills and the Steelers before getting the Bengals on the road to finish the year. The over-under for the Browns sits at 5.5. Yeah, give me the under 10 times out of 10. This is a total dumpster fire of a team. They did not get Travis Hunter. They probably could have had Travis Hunter. They traded the number 2 pick to the Jacksonville Jaguars to get a first rounder next year, along with several other picks. They got, of course, the number 5 pick in this draft, which they ended up taking Mason Graham with, which I honestly don't mind the trade. I know everyone thinks that Travis Hunter is like, I know people quote Travis Hunter, like the Browns, I guess, said themselves that they're like, that he's the Otani of the NFL. Um, he's, I don't think he's necessarily going to live totally up to the hype. I think he's going to have to choose one or the other. He's not going to be able to play both corner and receiver in the NFL. He's going to have to do one or the other. And so I think the Browns making the huge trade to go down, get themselves this isn't biased because he's Michigan, by the way, get themselves a very good quality defensive tackle, pair him next to your defensive end that you literally just signed to a huge contract. You bring him in, you pair those two together. Maybe you can get another guy or two to make that defensive line stronger. Boom, you already have yourselves the defensive line is already set. I think it's a good trade by the Browns. I think it's very smart. It's definitely it's definitely probably the only one of the smartest things they've probably done this year because I don't really know what to make sense of the Shadeur Sanders pick, especially after you drafted Dylan Gabriel in the 3rd round and then you trade for Kenny Pickett and you sign Joe Flacco. So now you got 5 QBs. Yes, Watson will be out the majority of the year, but you still got Pickett, Gabriel, Sanders, and Flacco in your QB room. Like, why? Like, what's the point? I have a hard time understanding it. Nick Chubb is gone as well. He's moved on. He went to the Houston Texans via free agency. The Browns just did not retain him. Don't necessarily blame them. I mean, you saw what happened to his knee in Pittsburgh. He came back and he really just was not, as effective as he was before that. And that was the same knee that he got absolutely destroyed at Georgia. So to expect him to come back from the same injury twice is very hard. Uh, you know, so it's unfortunate for the Browns. Obviously, I'm sure they have some other solutions at the running back position. What they have at receiver and tight end, who really knows? This offense is going to, like I said, this team is not good. Under 5.5. I don't know how bad it's going to be, but the Browns are just not a good team. They're a far cry from what they were in 2020. The defense is not really up to par anymore, and everything else about the Browns is just kind of a mess. So, kind of tough for them. Really the only team that has been as bad as the Browns in terms of franchise is the Lions. So, I kind of take pity in that, but you know, they suck. They're bad. Now we go to the Baltimore Ravens, who start off with an absolute banger of a game, going on the road on Sunday on the opening Sunday night game to take on the Buffalo Bills. What a game that will be! Then they'll have home games against the Browns and the Lions. Um, then they'll be on the road against the Kansas City Chiefs, home to the Houston Texans and Rams before getting their first bye. That is a gauntlet of a start to the year. Home to the Bears, on the road against the Dolphins, and or I'm sorry. Oh yeah, on the road against the Dolphins, the Vikings, and the Browns. Then three straight home games against the Jets, Bengals, and Steelers. And then they'll have the other game against the Bengals, being on the road. Home to the New England Patriots, then on the road to finish the year against the Green Bay Packers and the Pittsburgh Steelers. The over under for the Baltimore Ravens sits at 11 and a half. Yeah, give me the over for this one. This is too good. I know the Ravens have always collapsed in the playoffs, and we'll see what happens this year. We'll see if that is the case again with Baltimore. Their issue last year, strangely enough, was actually defense, which is kind of unheard of when you think of the Baltimore Ravens. But they've looked to address that in the draft, even a little bit in free agency as well. Even in last year's draft, they have done things to try and fix that. The offense is still as lethal as ever. Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson still remain the most lethal and unfair read option in all of NFL history. I still thought that pairing to me was just beyond disgusting, and it proved to be just that. Lamar Jackson also had an absolutely unbelievable season. He went absolutely off. The only reason he didn't win MVP was because Josh Allen exists. Um, and yeah, I mean, the Ravens are a really good team. The only question at this point, I think, for Baltimore is can they get it done? And I honestly think this will be a really good year for them because I kind of think the rest of the division has taken a step back. The Steelers ended up making the playoffs just wound up making the playoffs last year. Spoiler alert, I don't think it's happening this year. And then when it comes to the Bengals, they've continued to fall further and further defensively, and the offense has tried to carry them with not all that much success. I mean, there's only so much that one whole entire unit can do. But for the Ravens, it's really just what are they going to be able to do this year? What are they going to do to fix stuff? Can they really get it done in the postseason? I don't think there's really any question of how good this team will be in the regular season. I just think it's going to be a question of will they collapse again in the playoffs? I'm also wondering what's going to happen to Mark Andrews. Because their tight end room is getting a little crowded now with the emergence of Isaiah Likely last year. He really kind of ate into Mark Andrews' snaps a lot until he finally kind of, sort of asserted himself as the dominant tight end later in the year, but he still had drops at the end of the year, which obviously hurt. So I'm wondering if the Ravens maybe obviously training camp is going right now, so we'll see, who starts and who doesn't. But for the Ravens, I'm really curious to see, you know, say Isaiah Likely wins the job in training camp or he, ends up dethroning for good Mark Andrews. Is he not? Do the Ravens look to send him away somewhere, put him on the trade market? And if he does, where does he go? Now, I think I have the perfect solution for him, and most of you probably can already figure out where that is. But I'm curious to see what happens with him. Does he end up winning the starting job and kind of keep Likely in the background, or does Isaiah Likely outdo him, take the starting gig, and then has Mark Andrews looking for a new home? Hint, hint. I would say he's going to the LA Chargers. But that's just me. We'll see what happens with the Ravens, but I think this will be a really good season for them. They're obviously a Super Bowl contender. The only question is, can they finally get over the hump in the postseason? And last, and I guess not least, I don't really know. Never really know with the Steelers. Um, they're going to be Pittsburgh Steelers. Why am I blinking out here? They're going to be an interesting team this year. They'll first start on the road against the New York Jets, home to the Seattle Seahawks, on the road against the New England Patriots. Then they have the first ever Dublin, Ireland game, taking on the Minnesota Vikings. We'll be actually playing two straight back to back overseas games this year. Interesting. Then the Steelers will get their bye. Home to the Cleveland Browns, at the Cincinnati Bengals, home to the Green Bay Packers, home to the Colts, on the road against the LA Chargers, home to the Bengals, on the road against the Bears, home to the Bills, on the road against the Ravens, home to the Dolphins, on the road against the Lions and Browns, and then home to the Ravens to finish the year. The Pittsburgh Steeler over under is literally as cliche as you could possibly imagine. It literally sits at 8.5. So literally, will they go over 500? Um, normally with the Steelers, honestly, I normally say over because this is Mike Tomlin. And no matter what he has on his darn team, he always finds a way to get the Steelers to at least go 500 or get the best out of them. I really don't know how he does it, but he just does. This is the year I say they go under, mostly because they signed up for the Aaron Rodgers show. And we saw how that went with the New York Jets. Now, yes, that's the Jets. I understand that. Aaron Rodgers is not that guy anymore. And I don't really understand what on earth the Steelers are thinking of even signing this fool and bringing him onto the team rather than just going in. I mean, you had Justin Fields and Russell Wilson. Neither one of those are bad options. Especially, honestly, really Justin Fields. I think that was a perfect option for him. I'm like, I know a lot of people don't like Justin Fields. I'm a Justin Fields believer. He is your, atypical modern day QB. He can run, he can throw, he is a mobile QB with a very good arm. That's what people want these days. They want mobile QBs who can launch it downfield. And that's Justin Fields. Now, he has had issues with accuracy, he has had issues with other things, but he's a good QB. And even with Russell Wilson, yeah, he's not, fantastic at this point in his career, but at the very least, a stopgap guy. He's at least serviceable enough to do that. But you bring back neither of them, and now you sign Aaron Rodgers, who you just know is going to try and run the team and is just going to try and bully you the whole entire time. I mean, I don't like the signing for Pittsburgh, and this team, like I said, they never seem to look good. But Mike Tomlin always finds a way to get this team to go above 500. Now, I don't know what he does in the locker room. I don't know what he really does to make things work, but wherever he does, it works. But when it comes to really Tomlin, the Steelers, Aaron Rodgers, I don't see it. I think this is finally going to be the year that we see Mike Tomlin loses his voodoo magic, and we will see the Pittsburgh Steelers go below 500 for the first time in a while. But probably they need it because they just really need a QB. Because yikes, the rest of that team. I mean, they did trade for DK Metcalf, which was kind of weird, and then trade away George Pickens. Like, I don't really get that. Like, they basically traded a player to get the same player. Doesn't really make sense to me. He does trade really one knucklehead for another one. Like, okay, and maybe Metcalf's a little bit better. Okay, like what was the point of the deal in the first place? So that's all I got for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. We'll have come Friday. Hopefully, I'll have my AC working by then because my gosh, it's getting so hot in here. You guys don't understand. Hopefully, we will have the AC back to being normal again. They are coming tomorrow, so hopefully it will be fine. Um, but Friday I should have some more NFL videos for you, where I'll be doing the NFC North, which of course has my very own Lions. So expect a longer episode, possibly. We'll see. But that's all I got for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time. Until then. Adios, everyone.